Hey folks, the purpose of this video is to help you get started on the exercises for array basics. So what I want you to try is exercise 1A up here on the screen. Now what it's got is, these are just exercises maybe similar to things you might have done in Python. You get the average of the elements in an array, figure out, look for something in an array, search for an element in an array, print the array backwards, that kind of thing. So basic array practice, but I thought we'd do it in an object-oriented way. So what I want you to do is create this class called intArray processor, which is basically a wrapper around an array. So it's going to be, it's going to have an array as an instance variable. It's got a constructor in it that lets you pass in the array that you want to wrap into an intArray processor, and then it provides a bunch of methods for different things that you might want to do with the array. And then the list of them is here, and the details about what each method is supposed to do are here. And they kind of get, in the list here, the way that I've listed them here, they get kind of progressively more difficult. They go from easier to harder. So just use it to get some practice. But let's, I thought we'd start, I'll just show you, we can walk together through creating the object and the constructor and maybe one of the methods. Okay, so it's going to be called intArray processor. So I'm going to create, not from there, I'm going to go from here, a new Java class called intArray processor, like that. Okay, and it's supposed to have an array. What's the type? Int, because that's the name, intArray processor. So I need a private integer array variable called a. Okay, and then I'm going to have a constructor. And actually, we could start with just alt insert. Give me the constructor for a. Except we shouldn't really do it like this. This leads to privacy leaks, like I talked about at the end of the last video. So what we should really do is get the array from the user and make a copy of it to store internally in our own private copy of the array. So the way to do that is we're going to say this a equals, create a new array of type integer, and we'll make it as long enough to fit everything from the original array. So a.length will give us the length. And then just a quick for loop. Plus then a.length I++, and we want this dot a item I to be equal to a item I. So that'll do it. That's the private instance variable and the public constructor. Okay. Now we just need to set about doing some of these methods. And like I said, they get harder as you go down. There are some that I believe that accept integers as parameters, like is same as, and there are some that return integer arrays as parameters, like get reverse. So so yeah, let's just take a look. Let's do one simple one. Maybe print and print reverse are kind of interesting, but they don't accept any parameters or return anything. So let's take a look at, how about increment? Increment adds the value of I to every array element. So let's do increment. Okay, so for increment, it's going to be public. So first we can start just by, oops, I accidentally loaded Chrome there. We can start just by doing the signature of the method. It's named increment and it takes one integer variable called I and it doesn't return anything. So it's public void increment int I, like that. Okay. And now we want to go through every single array element. Now you might want to pause here and just do this yourself. But basically we want to increase everything by I. So we need a loop to go through the array. Might want to think about whether it should be an enhanced for loop or whether it should be a counted for loop. You can stop now and try it yourself, or you can just watch me do it. Like this. And we're just going to go a. We don't need to use this dot a here because we don't have a variable called a. Oops, I just realized though I'm overwriting. I was the name of the increment coming in. So I need some other variable name for this. I'll call it index. I can't reuse the variable I here, otherwise it'll have two different meanings. So a at index, and I'll just use plus equals I. There we go. Okay, now if we want to test this, we probably need to do the print method. So let's do the print method. It's just it's a void method, no parameters, just prints it out. Probably should really be a 2-string. Oh well. We'll call it print public void print, like that. And it's just going to go, we'll use an enhanced for loop here, for int e from A, the array. System out, I'll do a system out print so we save a little bit of space, like that. And then at the end we'll do a system out print line so that the next time we print we're on a different line. So now we have, with a print method, we now have enough to test it. So we can do a new Java class int array processor main. We could put the main class, oops, I put it in the wrong place. I want to move it down here. Oh boy, I messed that up. Okay, try that again. Not from weaksys code, from source. Java class int array processor main. There we go. So I've got this weaksys code package here. I accidentally put it in that package first when I first started. So this is just going to hold our main method. We're going to create an int array processor. Maybe call it P. And we need to pass it an array. I could create an array separately, but it's probably easy as anything is to use this piece of syntax that I showed you that lets you just create an integer array on the fly. And I'll just put a bunch of numbers in it. Smashing the keyboard here. There we go. Control L. And then what I need to do is maybe p.print to print it out. p.increment by, let's say, 10. And then p.print again. Control Shift F10. And we should see the original array print. And then we should see the same numbers come out, hopefully, but with increased by 10. There we go. So that hopefully should get you going. Some of the, I think you should try some of them, maybe even try some of the harder ones, like, you know, the search ones, like find, get biggest, get smallest. These are things that you may have been asked to do in Python, but they're good exercise, really basic array algorithms, looking for things. Contains is a good one because it returns a Boolean. So your task there is just to return true if the array contains this element E. Is same as is good because there's an array coming in and you have to compare them to see if they're the same array. Get set is a hard one. I'll let you read the version of that. Get reverse is kind of cool because it returns an integer array. Maybe what we'll do is let's just do the signature for that one. We'll use, let's do the signature for get reverse. Just so that you get an idea, because I didn't cover returning arrays in the other video. So get reverse is supposed to be public. It's supposed to return an integer array. So you just do it like that. This is going to return an integer array. And the idea here is that this needs to return an array that represents the original array in A, but with the elements reversed. So we're going to have to do some trick where we walk backwards through the array and fill up this new array in reverse order. So I'll let you guys figure out the logic of it or think about the logic and we can take it up in class. I think there's a solution to this online as well. What we first need to do is we need to create an array to return. So we need an integer array to return. Let's call it reversed equals new integer array, and it's going to be the same size as our original array. Okay, and then we're going to fill it up with the contents of A in reverse order, and then we return it like that. Okay, so this works just like passing a parameter in. It's going to return a reference to this new array that we created. So the reversed variable is a local variable to this method. But the array that we create lives separately from the method in memory, and we can return a value which represents the address of that. So over here in int array processor main, if we wanted to test this, we could create a new array variable called R, and we call get reverse like that. Now when this is working, that will return a reference to the new array that was created that's reversed. and then we can print it out. By the way, in case you don't already know it, there's a really quick way to print an array, system out print line. There's a helper class called arrays. What is it? ToString. Arrays.toString R will print out an array in a way that's easily readable on the screen. Control Shift F10 now. So what we'll get is, if you think, just maybe think for a second before you look about what we're going to get. We're going to see the array before and after the increment, and then we're going to see the result of get reverse, which of course is all zeros right now. So that's me printing out the array using arrays.toString. So you have to fill in the logic for that. And like I said, I think you should try a couple of them, and you should maybe try at least one hard one. So get reverse is a tricky one. Above average is tricky. It builds on average. So maybe that's a good pair to do. And it might be a good idea to do is same as well, where you've got an array being passed in. Okay, so good luck with that, and bring any questions that you have to the class.